Hey guys, Books Nelson here with another My Team card breakdown. Today we're going to be discussing Pink Diamond Deron Williams, and let's get right into the content. So I want to address this card's weaknesses first, and I don't mean the fact that he's 6'3" or anything like that. We're talking about just from purely an animation standpoint, what's holding this card back from possibly being great. And he might actually still be great. But look, I want to address his weaknesses head on. And if these things, put you off of the card, I totally understand. So first thing and foremost, the most glaring weakness is he cannot stick dunk, right? You see that teeny tiny meter in the heat of battle, that's not going to work. Even with a shoe, it's not going to become very friendly. So then you say, okay, well, what are his layups? His scoops are actually quite good, going both ways. He has very good directional control of his scoops. If someone's in front of you, you are able to avoid the defender depending on which way you choose. And depending on the momentum that you have, he really does have some nice options in terms of scoop layups. So I wouldn't be deterred from using those. They're fast, they put the ball way out in front of them. As long as you're avoiding the defender, you should be able to get those scoop layups off. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a big bag outside of the scoops. The floater looks good, but you can get a really bad troll floater that carries you into a shot block with this guy, and you don't know when you're going to get it. I think in the heat of battle, it's impossible to control these floaters perfectly, and he just has way too many floater animations that bring him in, no matter where you trigger it. So if I try my hardest, I can get the perfect one to trigger just like that, but that is not something I would recommend in gameplay. So going to the basket, he's pretty limited. Now, if you're wide open, of course, he can dunk the ball, and that would be the idea, to be wide open. However, that doesn't mean he's not a threat going towards the rim. And this is because he does have an excellent step back, and he has excellent hops in every direction with that. I believe it's the normal 2 hop jumper, but really good hops, really quick hops in each direction. And it's all topped off by the fact that he has an excellent release. And as we discussed this, I'm going to compare him to a couple of other cards like Jalen Green and Tyrese Maxey, and even to a lesser degree Victor Oladipo, which I think is the range that he might be in those cards. But I think he might be the best of them purely because of that that jumper. The jumper is just an excellent release, and your movement is only as good as what it's leading up to. And in the case of Deron Williams, he has such high attributes that whatever jumper you shoot, no matter what the situation is, as long as you're taking a good shot, he's going to get it off and it's going to go in, right? It's very easy to read. Great leaners, go in both directions. So when he's on the move and when he's going around towards the basket, he is good, but going to the basket, you are very limited. You have to definitely pick your spots, almost the reverse of like a Wilt Chamberlain, right? If you're shooting with Wilt Chamberlain, you're not shooting every 3, you're not shooting leaners with Wilt, unless you're absolutely built like that. You're taking the opportunistic threes, and in that same way, he's taking the opportunistic dunks and drives to the basket where people are beat and you're way ahead of them, or the paint is open or something like that. Now, how do you get into that situation? By being excellent behind the three-point line and having people overplay you. And that is something I do think the card can do, but there are a couple of more weaknesses that we have to go over before we get into his strengths. So weakness number 1, absolutely wretched rotten behind the back. This is beyond troll. And it's beyond troll because not only is it not usable as a behind the back, but it also ruins your misdirection because it takes a long time to get started. And the misdirection is a really good move to throw in. And we're going to look at Tyrese Maxey to show exactly why it's so good briefly, right? So when you get this misdirection going, if you have a good behind the back, you can throw that in. And not only can you throw in the behind the back after the misdirection, but you can throw in normal size ups to change the rhythm of your behind the back. And when you're particularly when you're in this area right here and you're doing something like that, it gives you a lot of different looks because you get a moment to read your opponent. And with cards that have like these really elite sigs where you can behind the back, left and right and stuff like that, the misdirection is something that gives you an honest attacking dribble move setup sort of situation. So when you don't have it, you become much more limited in the way that you can attack. We're not going to go too far with Maxey. I'll save that for a more in-depth dribble tutorial on that kind of thing. But just to give you guys a taster, you know, those that misdirection, you can lead into it with a lot of other moves. Your normal size ups, your momentum dribbles, you can do that before you do the misdirection. And out of the misdirection, you can choose just so many things. You can choose escapes, all of that stuff. So for Deron Williams not to have it is definitely a big hit. Now, he can do the sideways, the old school. This is the one I actually used to do this one more often, the sideways one. I haven't done it in so long because I've been using the diagonal one. So this is where you're holding right trigger, you basically do a side escape, and you interrupt the side escape by pressing the opposite direction, like so, right? Now, the thing is, it doesn't start the best. It does at least give you the thing where you can run out of it, which is great. And he does have a decent snatchback. So you can also do that out of it, and you can also do escapes out of it. So it's all right, but definitely a bit of a bummer that he doesn't have that move either. So what does he have? Now, this is the good news. And I'm sorry to put all of the bad news in the front, but I just wanted to get that out of the way so that now we can go, well, what can this guard do? So we know already he's an absolutely elite shooter. I think this jumper is fantastic on a small guard. It's quick, easy to read, but it's not too quick, right? So for thing number one, he has the Kyrie dribble style. So this means, honestly, even if you don't know how to dribble, you can literally just turbo in the same direction, and by feathering the stick, you have an automatic hesitation built into it. You can change direction really fast. And on top of that, he has the De'Aaron Fox size up. So you mix those two things together, and even if you don't know how to dribble at all, you only have to know how to do this one thing. And I'm gonna break it down for you guys real quick because there is some small amount of skill required. So when you're turboing into a direction, if you turbo too fast after doing a size up, you will interrupt that size up and turn it into an escape, right? So you can actually probably hear me clicking and you'll hear both buttons, but it's done too fast and the escape will come out. You see? So that shouldn't be happening, right? This should not be an escape. It's because there's a cancel window during your normal moves. So you have to wait for the normal move to be somewhat finished before you press the turbo to burst out of it. It's not a super difficult thing, but if I didn't mention it, it's a thing that you could easily mess up while playing with this character, right? So if you just wanted to use Deron Williams in the most simple way, I would say get used to his size up package out of the Kyrie Irving burst. Look at the different size ups he has available to him. And he's got like nice little hops with this De'Aaron Fox that looks like you're moving in the other direction. And I do think that when people are guarding on ball, this visual, moving of the head side to side, it actually does help with the character. And these are quick dribbles that you can interrupt very quickly. Now that's the good news, is like, even though this move, I said you can interrupt it, that's not a bad thing. You just have to get used to controlling it, right? But if you do get used to controlling it, this opens you up to his other stuff. So he's got combo moves, right? That's his, it might be pro combo there. It's actually really good because if you mix that in with the size up, it gives you easy rhythms to chain left and right, back and forth. And a big problem I see a lot of the community has is they run to the left, they run out of ideas, and they run to the right and they run out of ideas, right? So it's like run to the left, momentum dribble, run to the right, momentum dribble. And this guy has tools to make you easily break that without having to learn anything super advanced like L2 canceling, because you can literally run to the left, size up, and then go back the same direction. You can run to the left, size up, change direction. And you can even, run to the left, hesi, and then keep going the same direction. And listen, I know it seems simple, but this kind of thing is actually really effective, right? You go to the left, they're expecting you to switch sides, and I'm explaining, so I slowed down, but you guys see, if I want to have that be more of a quick thing, all you got to do is learn how to feather the stick in the right direction, and it's just an automatic hesi. You don't even have to press the right stick to get the hesitation to come out. And that's useful also because it's easier on the stamina and adrenaline bar as well, right? Not having to bring the right stick into play. So with just his size up, which is the De'Aaron Fox size up, which is one of the best ones in the game, with just his Kyrie Irving dribble style, already that's enough for you to move behind screens, get open, and start generating some threes, even though he's missing some of the main tools. However, he does have another great tool, which is this escape. He's got an excellent top tier escape. We talked about escapes a bit in the Danny Green video. So basically, this is holding right trigger and you're going to press the right stick in the opposite direction. I press it at roughly 11 and 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock. I would say more like between 10 and 11 and between 1 and 2 is what I press to get that burst out. And of course you can L2 cancel out of that and switch directions. We explained the L2 cancel in the Danny Green video. We'll cover it more in the dribble tutorial, but you honestly, with the Kyrie Irving dribble style, it's a nice to have and it's a really good thing to learn, but you don't need it. And another reason you don't need it is because you can also, so you've got the escape by itself, right? You've got the escape into the burst, which is very easy in the Kyrie Irving dribble style. You've got the escape into the escape, and that side to side rock is also really nice, but it almost kind of takes the place of the behind the back, right? That escape into the escape. You've also got escape left stick cancels, which you're not going to get too detailed into, but basically if you throw the escape and you press the left stick right afterwards in the same direction, he'll cancel it. So basically like you're doing a momentum dribble, but he stops. And you can do moves right out of that. That's a very, very advanced technique that I'm not going to get into today, but it is something he has available to him. So if you are an advanced dribbler, you can use that to your heart's content, and he's going to be very, very good at that sort of thing. So he also has the escape into the Kyrie Irving dribble style. And this is nice because with the Kyrie Irving dribble style, when you do the escape, you can interrupt it almost at every frame, right? So if you watch the escape, he does this long drag, right? So I'm going to wait till the end and I'm going to run out of it and then run out of it, right? But watch when I do it quickly. It's just a quick, just quick boom, boom. And I can also change the angle of that. So there I'm running to the side, but we can also do it more forward, right? And just run right out of it. So again, you mix this in with the other stuff, and now you have a really good side to side rhythm ability, again, with very little, fancy stuff going on. You just have the ability to dribble behind screens. And if you learn how to left stick cancel at any moment, you can come back the other way and really rock with them. And that's what the card really has going for him. Let's look at his aggressive size up. So this aggressive size up mixes well with the Kyrie Irving, because if you look at the aggressive size up, in the beginning of that animation, he puts the ball in the opposite hand. You can run in either direction after that, right? So the ball's in my right hand, and then as soon as it's there, I can burst out of it, right? And if I do the same thing, ball's in my right hand, go the other way. And again, with all of this other stuff that he's got going on, you can mix that in and get out of that really quickly. So you have a lot of left-right options with Deron Williams, leading into the fact that he's also going to be excellent at these leaners, excellent at these hop jumpers. So then the question becomes, well, where do you rank him and blah, blah, blah. I would say I would have to play with this card a lot online to have a true, honest opinion. I'm not worried about his ability to generate shots and threes. It's more about how does he defend and can you get away with his finishing? If he defends really well for you on the court, which he might, because he's got a decent player model for a 6'3" guy and juiced stats and badges on that end. So he might defend above his level. And if he does that and you need a 3-hunter, he's probably one of the better 3-hunters in the game, and certainly one of the better 3-hunters that you can get. I would say Tyrese Maxey is probably the best. The problem is Tyrese Maxey has a pretty difficult shot to get down. So I think that pretty much covers it for Deron Williams. It's really about this size up mixed with the Kyrie Irving dribble style and his shot creation. If you can get those things down, I don't even think you need something crazy like L2 canceling to make this card work. I do think you can just, mix in the size up and bounce back left and right to your heart's content. And he's really almost kind of dribbling on easy mode with that De'Aaron Fox. He can just kind of hop left and right and cancel left and right, and you can really move around with the card at will. You just don't really have access to the deep bag, but it's one of those things where the bag that he does have is just fine. You don't need a deep bag if you can go left, right, left, left, right, right in a rhythm that really works for you. So that is going to cover it for the Deron Williams cover. I think that this is a jury's out kind of thing, where this card is almost super good, but he's basically a behind the back, a snatch back away from being top of the line. All right. Thanks so much for rocking with me. Obviously, like and subscribe. Oh, appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.